Welcome to My Body Fits. In today's video, I interview founder of the Sleep Superpower Academy, Sally Garozzo. Hi, I'm personal trainer and kettlebell coach Mel Anderson. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to bring you this interview today with the lovely and amazing Sally Garozzo. Check out this bio. Sally is an award-winning clinical hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy. She's also the host of the Menopause Mindset podcast and founder of the Sleep Superpower Academy. Alongside this, she teaches wellness practitioners how to become menopause, holistic and well-being practitioners. She is hugely passionate about helping midlifers heal the wounds of the past so that they can be free of anxiety and reclaim their confidence and authenticity. She has spoken alongside world-renowned nutritionist Marilyn Glenville. She's also been featured in the Talented Ladies Club and Coach magazine and was the founder of Inspiring Talks Brighton. I know, I am so lucky to have Sally on my channel. I reached out to Sally because I know that sleep is a real challenge around the menopause transition. It was for me for a really long time. We talk about the relationship between menopause and sleep quality, training yourself for successful sleep, what tips and tricks are really worthwhile, and she revealed the one thing that I was missing in my search for better sleep. Mind blown. And she leaves us with some practical tips that you can start to use straight away. If you enjoy this video, please like it, drop me a comment below, and then subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified when I put new stuff out. Okay, grab yourself a beverage, pop your feet up, and let's meet Sally. So welcome, Sally Garozzo. And I've said that right as well.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, well done. Well done.
Excellent. Welcome to My Body Fits and welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here today. So let's kick off, Sally. Tell us a little bit about what you do, your business and the people you work with.
So I have like a multi-pronged career, I suppose. I'm probably like you, a bit ADHD and have lots of I'm multi-passionate. So I'm a rapid transformational therapist, which is a process that's done under hypnosis. And it's a very powerful one-to-one. When people are really ready for change, that's when they come to me on a one-to-one basis. I also have been teaching singing for many, many years. And within that singing, one-to-one is also a lot of mentoring and coaching and working with feelings and emotions and especially a lot of self-acceptance. Then the menopause hit, the perimenopause, and I wondered what on earth was going on with me. So I dove into learning more about perimenopause and menopause and did a training in that, which really helped me to recognize that I needed to work on a lot of areas of my life, including rest and reevaluating everything and the way that I worked, because quite frankly I would go at things like a bull at a gate.
Yeah.
During menopause, that doesn't work when you're going through these hormonal changes. But unfortunately, insomnia was my worst menopausal symptom, and when you're struggling with insomnia, you need to figure it out. You need a plan. You need to work it out quickly because you cannot exist for very long without sleeping. So you sort of scramble around and scratch around trying to find everything. And that was me. I tried to find a lot of things. A lot of things worked, a lot of things didn't work, but eventually and we'll speak about that in a moment, I presume.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was out of that was born the Sleep Superpower Academy, which is my 12-week online course and community, which really helps people to relearn how to sleep. So I do that. I also educate people in menopause and cold water therapy, and I write courses as well. So I'm a bit of a knowledge junkie.
You're a bit amazing, actually. That's it. Honestly, that is such an amazing CV. It's just it blows my mind. And what blows my mind as well is how down to earth and approachable and friendly you are when we first met. So I'll just tell a little bit about how I came across you and how we how we got to sort of connect with each other. So much like you, I had my business, my profession, and what I did hit perimenopause. And again, like you, I go, oh, I need to learn about this. I need to learn about this. And that's where we first sort of, I think, were in the same place, was where we did our menopause sort of third age training on the same course, didn't we? And when I first spoke to you a little while ago, I mentioned that I had asked a question in there, and you really kindly answered this question for me. And straight away I was like, oh, I like this girl. And then I found you on Instagram, and I think we followed each other, and I saw the work you were doing with sleep. And by that time, I'd done a lot of stuff myself, and kind of much like you, had sort of, helped myself a lot. Like you, I'm somebody that dives into as much research as I can. And I had, helped myself quite a bit with my sleep. I don't want to say just not with my sleep hygiene, with my sleep quality, if you like. Yeah, that was an important thing. So when I thought about doing guest interviews, and also I love how you look, I love your whole vibe, so I just felt, it just felt like this connection with you anyway. So messaged you straight away, you were like, yes, let's do this. And we talked, didn't we? And just like, I feel like I've known you for, I feel like, is there a past life where we were like best mates or something? Because
and it's a bit mad, isn't it? Because we've got the same hair, we've got the same glasses.
Yes,
I was going to wear my pink hoops that are very much like yours. It's just like this kindred spiritness.
Yeah, totally. So what I thought when I looked at your work was like, oh my God, I wish I'd found you when I was really suffering. So I wouldn't put myself in the category of like absolutely like insomnia, but my sleep was so disrupted and so awful. And it was the getting back to sleep. Once I could always fall asleep, but I just used to wake up. And what used to happen for me, I had quite bad anxiety, quite bad depression. Anxiety was my worst symptom when peri started, that and the energy levels. And I used to be frightened of not sleeping. And I don't use that word lightly. I was so fearful and going, oh God, what if I don't sleep? Like, what happens? How do I function? Because lack of sleep to me meant crashing, hitting rock bottom. And then that meant letting everybody else down. That meant not performing. That meant, not being the best part of who I could potentially be. And it frightened me. And I think that fear, having read a lot of your stuff, that fear probably exacerbated it and made it worse. So like, why does that happen? And as we get older, you do hear people say they don't sleep as much. And is menopause and the disruption of hormones, is that part of what's going on here?
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I mean, when we get older, when we go through menopause, we have these anovulatory cycles, which means our progesterone is declining, usually much faster than the estrogen.
Yeah.
Progesterone is soporific, which means sleep inducing. So it stands to reason then that if we have less of this progesterone, that we are going to be less sleepy. We're going to have more anxiety because our hormones exist in symphony with each other. So if you've got lowering progesterone, you have rising cortisol and adrenaline. Now, the problem is the more you have rising cortisol, the more you are attuned to fear. Okay. And then the adrenaline kicks in, and adrenaline is a wake-up hormone.
Yeah.
So there's lots of factors why we have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. One of the other things is blood sugar fluctuations. As we go into perimenopause, we get more prone to prediabetes and insulin resistance. If we're on that blood sugar roller coaster and we're not managing our blood sugar correctly, we can get in the middle of the night, our blood sugar drops. Whenever your blood sugar drops, you get a spike of cortisol, which pushes glucose back into the bloodstream, thankfully, but you wake up.
Yeah, it's like being injected with an espresso. That's
Yes.
how I used to explain it. Like I literally at the same time. And that's how I knew it. Somebody else told me that what you've just said about the blood sugar crashes and the cortisol and that kind of thing. And that's a lot of the work that I did, was working around that and regulating my blood sugar, which it did help quite a lot. But that I'd say to Jamie, it's like somebody literally injected me, because I would, I don't now, if I wake up, I sleepily wake up, I roll over and I go back to sleep. But I used to go ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here it is. There's that number 3 again on the clock. Damn,
Yeah.
what's going on? So,
Also, what can happen as we age is this is more when you get older, but the pineal gland starts to calcify, and the pineal gland is where the melatonin is drip fed from. Right. So taking a microdose of melatonin every night, 90 minutes before bed, like a 0.5 milligrams to 1.5 milligrams, is actually quite useful. Okay. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get that level of dose. Right. So whenever I go to Spain, I always stock up on melatonin, come back, it lasts me a while. And yeah, I mean, that often helps. It's something that, like you take a quarter of an aspirin to thin your blood.
Yes, yeah.
When you're older. It's that sort of thing. It just keeps that calcium off the pineal gland.
Right.
So that's something that can be worth doing when you get older. Not something to sort of take as a sleeping tablet.
Yeah.
But something just to take as a kind of maintenance thing. But I think also, our stress levels do play such a big part. When we get older, we are so much more attuned to stress and looking out for danger, because we do become more vulnerable as we get older. We can't fend for ourselves like we used to. I think brain fog can make us feel terrified.
Yeah, sure.
Like, what if I forget something? What if I'm out in the middle of town and I have forgotten, like, where's my bus pass, or I can't get into my phone, or my credit card's not working, and then the anxiety rises, and we just can't cope with things like we could when we were in our 20s and 30s. We don't have that like quick thinking. We feel very vulnerable. We don't feel as protected and honoured by society as well. Like our society doesn't hold in high regard elder women. And I think if you're young, you have an advantage. Hopefully things are changing, and I think a lot of that can come down to our own personal levels of confidence and working on that, but also making sure that we do have a support system around us. And that's partly what I teach inside the academy, is teaching people how to create a support system around them, and what generates good relationships. So a lot of this, I know for me, like when my relationship is on edge, or if there's a thing between us that we haven't sorted out, that can keep me up at night. Anything that is going on, basically anything that is going on in your day will have a massive impact at nighttime, because if you're not feeling safe during the day, you won't sleep at night. So you only sleep if you feel safe.
That's so important, isn't it? That's so true, because if you think about it on a kind of evolutionary level, if you don't feel safe during the day, you don't want to fully sleep in case that danger comes. So wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's actually quite normal to wake up in the middle of the night, actually, because you wake up, you check the cave. It's like your brain goes, just check the cave. Cave's all right, no one's dead. Jack's gone out to do his early morning hunting. Okay, I'll fall back to sleep. It's not normal to stay awake. It's normal to wake up. It's not to stay awake.
Now, this is the thing that fascinated me when I was like researching, working with you and doing this with you. This was one of the things that when I read it jumped off of your website, and I was like, wow. And you were like saying that it's not a problem to wake up. The issue is getting back to sleep. And I remember when I was trying to find something, one of the things that really annoyed me, which we talked about, is when people say, get 8 hours sleep. And I'm like, well, where's the information to help me do that? Like, what, how? Tell me how. Nobody ever said, exercise, drink water, eat a healthy diet and get 8 hours sleep. And I'd be literally tearing my head, going, for God's sake, I
How?
can't. Oh, do you know what? Just because you've said that, I'm going to get 8 hours sleep now. You know, it really, because I was in such I'm not even going to lie, it was an angry place. Like, I'm so annoyed that I can't sleep. This is affecting my whole life. So
Yeah.
when I read something like that, I would literally, like, not even joking, throw something across the room and go, somebody tell me how. So when I read that, that was the thing I think that I thought, I wish I'd found you then. Because, yeah, you know, because it was the waking up that used to scare me. And as soon as I woke up, I'd go, oh my God, I'm awake again. But if I'd have just had that information and gone, this is fine.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a minute, the getting back to sleep. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. It's basically you don't, and this is where self-management comes in. The more frustrated you become, the more sleep will elude you.
And that was me. So
Yeah.
much. That was me.
But nobody tells you that. Nobody's like, oh, I need to write. I'll count my breaths, or think of something nice. There's a lot of different tactics that I use myself. First and foremost is stay calm. Stay calm. So there's something called quiet wakefulness, which I practice myself. So if I wake up in the middle of the night, instead of getting frustrated, I will do this thing where I appreciate the silence, focus on the stillness, let my thoughts bounce around and drift. And also that thing of resigning yourself, like a gentle resignation to, I'm not sleeping and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I call it the acceptance paradox, which I learned from David Hamilton. And it's this idea that when you accept what is releases, and then you can drift back to sleep again. So in the academy, I create this recording for people that is, it's beautiful. It's like this validation. So it's me going, okay, so you can't sleep. That's okay. I recognize that you can't sleep. I acknowledge that you can't sleep. I see that you can't sleep. I feel your pain. I recognize, it goes on for about 5 minutes. So I give that to them, and that trains them how to do it themselves when they wake up. Because the last thing I want you to do is reach for your phone and play a recording, because the blue light and everything will wake you up. For some people who don't have a problem with insomnia, they can look at their phone and go back to sleep. But if you have that kind of brain, especially people with ADHD, because as soon as you wake up, you're all over. Zip.
Yeah.
So but I think also it's this idea of practicing channeling your focus during the day. I mean, as if we've got all these hours in the day. But taking time out to practice focus, especially if you've got a very zippy brain, can stand you in it's like sleep training.
Yes.
In a way. So training yourself for sleep during the day and all through the day can be really, really helpful. So just doing, I have a specific meditation inside the academy as well that I give people, and it trains you how to sort of gently bring your thoughts from doing all like whack-a-mole to just coming back to that one focus. And it takes time, it takes practice. There can be resistance. And, I've recently been through a big trauma, and it's impossible to do that when you're going through a big trauma.
Yes.
You have to get the crisis out of the way first.
Sure, yeah.
And then get back to your practice as quickly and as efficiently and effectively as you can. But there are lots of things. The last thing you want to do is be laying in bed trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Longer than 20 minutes. If you've been like employing a few principles to help you get back to sleep and it's not worked after 20 minutes, get up, walk around. And when you're walking around, just sort of, shake it out, reset, and then go back to bed again. And make sure your temperature is cool, because that is, as we go through midlife, the warming up that happens in the middle of the night can be, it really wakes us up. And we'll talk about cold water probably. But the other thing is trying to get out of your head and into your body.
Mm.
So in the middle of the night, if I wake up, I'll do the acceptance paradox thing, but I'll also do this kind of yummy body thing where I
Mm.
just sort of like feel the sheets or twizzle my toes or just like
Mm.
rock against the sheet. So it's that's like self-comforting thing. Can be a
Yeah.
bit annoying if you've got someone in the bed next to you, but if you sleep alone, like doing like gentle kind of rocking motion, like
Mm.
they call it trauma release exercise,
Okay.
TRE, where you just sort of shake a part of your body, like your pelvis or your solar plexus, like have a little wobble,
Right, right.
pelvis backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
And when you stop, it instigates the parasympathetic nervous system, which relaxes you. So anything that helps you to get back into the parasympathetic, I teach people about polyvagal theory as well. So
Yeah.
they understand what their nervous system is doing.
Mm.
It's really important to understand how you work.
You know, that is so important, and that's the thing that I think was missing when I was trying to find stuff. Is like when there's so much to say about everything that you've just said. Like, first of all, as soon as you start talking about, you know, that acceptance and just being with the waking up and you know, that automatically, even not being in the middle of waking up right now, I can feel myself go, oh, that feels so relaxing, you know. And actually, I was going to ask you about relaxation because, as you know, I've got an ADHD brain. My body loves to keep moving all the time. You know, one of the hardest things that I find to do is to sit and relax. And I do. I've done it for years. I do a very short sort of mantra meditation in the mornings because I find that repeating a mantra gives me something, it gives me a focal point, but I can only do it for a short amount of time. And you know, so if we're talking about relaxation in the middle of the night, yeah, you got to train yourself and learn how to, you know, bring that relaxation on. But what about outside of sleep? Is there anything we can do without having to sit in meditation for 2 hours? Because someone like me, it's not going to happen. And I'm sure not even people with ADHD. I think even people that haven't got ADHD, women, we're just engines, aren't we? We're go, 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 whether it's internally go, go, go in our heads or physically go, go, go. So, you know, can we match that up with some relaxation during the day? And yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me has been recognizing the oppressive structures that create this go, go, go in women and recognize that it's a form of oppression, actually. So I've got a podcast episode called Rest as Rebellion.
Okay. Love
That's
that.
worth listening to for sure. Because I think that resting is taking our power back.
Yeah.
So recognizing those sort of social issues, excuse me,
That's okay.
a little bit of histamine going on this morning. But also training yourself to slow down a little bit with all of your movements. So I have a friend who is in her 30s and she actually moves around quite slowly. Very, very thoughtful about everything that she does, whereas I'm like a bull in a china shop, you know. My life just, I have all of these projects that have been born out of this kind of chaos. And, you know, I think a lot of geniuses have this, not saying I'm a genius, but a lot of geniuses have this chaotic, like Leonardo da Vinci and stuff.
Yeah.
They have this nature within them. I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we do this. Yeah. Yeah.
So she's very methodical, very slow. So I have role models, Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey. I think, oh yeah, you know, they're not chaotic, they're slow, they're thoughtful. And I suppose I try to slow my movements down because I think mind and body are linked. So if you can slow your movements down, then your mind will follow.
Yes.
You're rushing around and gripping, your mind is going to be rushing and gripping.
Yeah.
So slowing your movements down, driving slower, walking slower, cleaning slower. The trouble with life at the moment is technology makes us race mentally.
Yeah.
So it's just the nature of technology. Everything is instant. We live in an urgency culture. Everything's got to be answered right now. You know, I can't wait for you to respond. If you send a text message, you're looking for those blue ticks to see well, they read it. Why are they not? And it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the way that we are meant to be. You know, I know people, I'm going to be unplugging this weekend and I'm so looking forward to it. When you unplug, body will find its own rhythm.
Yeah.
But how do we do that? It's a discipline. It's knowing why we are in that state in the first place, that sort of being controlled and that oppressive structure that I spoke about before. But yeah, calming the sense of urgency, is coming back to the Eckhart Tolle stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
The present moment.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit for 2 hours. You can make your whole life a meditation. So when you're doing your makeup, when you're doing your hair, you can always try and bring yourself back to the present moment, even if it's just for one breath.
Yeah.
I think that one conscious breath is such a good idea. Where you just stop for a minute. We don't even have to stop, you know, curling your hair and stop for a minute, you know, it's the thinking. So I think we think this thing of self-care or rest and relaxation has to take up time.
Yeah, it's got to be a weekend away or a spa day or something like that. And that to me is like, oh no, I can't. Yeah.
It's full integration. It's how are you going to take this idea and integrate it into your already existing life?
Yeah. I'm lucky. I've got my husband. We're very kind of either end of the spectrum. So I'm really hype, and he's very relaxed, laid back, very chilled. He's tone. He's very, you know, very sort of relaxed and deep, and whereas I'm, you know, up there all the time. And when you were talking about that, I can think of a couple of things that I do, and he pulls me up on it. I say, I'm just going for a quick wee, and he says, why don't you just go for a wee? And I go, oh yeah, and I instantly go, okay, I'll just go for a wee, yeah. Or if he gives me like a spontaneous kiss, I go, quick, make it a quick one. And he goes, and he just puts his hands on my shoulders and goes, stay for a minute. And I go, I've got to get on. And sometimes he just lets me go, but sometimes he just goes, just stay for a minute. And I go, oh, okay, just for a minute, you know. So yeah, that's really interesting. It makes me feel like I should just pick one thing during the day and go, let's start there with that one thing and bring some like slowness and some more kind of restorative energy to that one thing to start with. Yeah.
I think Gabor Mate talks a lot about ADHD and not just about ADHD itself, but the way that we're all quite scattered in our thinking, even if you don't have a diagnosis. I don't have a diagnosis. I have a suspicion that I'm autistic and do have some ADHD in there as well. But he talks a lot about scattered being this idea of tuning out of the present moment. And so and that's because the present moment doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Right. We can't be with our feelings.
Yeah.
Because our feelings are essentially everything other than what society says they should be. They are messy.
Yeah.
They are basically the only feeling that is appropriate in society is happiness. If you're not happy, it's not valid.
Yeah.
So if we're not having just happiness, if we're feeling confused, disappointed, anxious, fearful, sad, all of it, then we will think, oh, I need to avoid. And that in itself, you know, if you're not coming back home every day and accepting those feelings that you're feeling, because they're all valid, I'm telling you now, they're all valid.
Yeah.
You're going to be finding ways to escape.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, you can't escape in the middle of the night.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why everything comes to the surface in the middle of the night, because you have to face the music. But because we're not used to facing the music, we panic.
Yeah.
But if we could just go, oh yeah, it's all that sadness that I haven't taken the time to feel during the day.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. Yeah, that really does.
And you can relax. Oh, it's just sadness. Okay, it's a valid feeling. It's just disappointment, and that's a valid feeling. So I teach my students, if you can spend 20 minutes a day mind wandering to allow your brain to do its job,
Yeah.
Your heart does its job.
Yeah.
You don't interfere with that, do you?
No.
So if you can allow your brain to do its job, just your brain needs to think. Your brain needs to process all this stuff.
Yeah.
If you give it 20 minutes a day to process, and not on a walk, not in a shower, just sit there.
Right. Yeah.
Do your mind wandering.
Mm.
Sleep better.
That's so amazing. That's such an alien thing. And you know, you're absolutely right. We do think I'll go on a walk, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. That the idea of just sitting with my thoughts, I actually got a little bit of a little butterflies when you're saying that. That's a huge thing to do, isn't it? And I think you're absolutely right about whether it's come from our parents, whether it's come from society, from school. Certainly for me, growing up with ADHD, and I think it's more common to have the ADD in young girls, and this presents itself as staring out the window, daydreaming, that kind of thing. So that's why it's not really recognised in girls, because it's very calm, or it looks like you're just somewhere else. But I was super hyperactive with a aggressive streak. So I was kind of like, every adult in my life was, stop being this that you are, stop being this, this is not acceptable. It's not, and I take from that, and my parenting of my own children is a response to my own, not just parents, I'm talking all adults in my life, everyone in my life. Just, if you could just not be this would be fantastic, and you have to work at letting that stuff go, don't you? You have to work at not having that rule and that kind of boundary. So, yeah, to sit and go, I'm going to feel all of these negative things that I've, society has told me all my life, don't be that, So I have to try really hard to lean into everything that I am. And I'm definitely doing that way more. And there are certain people, and definitely my family being, my husband, daughter, especially my son, that I can let it all be whatever it is, and it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, it's still a scary thing to do.
I think back in the day, when we were raised, it was very inconvenient and embarrassing for our parents.
Yes.
If you were different, if you were uncontrollable, if you told the truth,
Yes.
It's like, that was the age that we lived in. And I think that still exists today in some families.
Yeah.
But it is about finding ways that we can come back home to ourselves. And I sort of see culture like there's growth on the one hand, like always moving forward, moving forever forwards. And then on the other hand, there's the sort of like kind of hippy dippy, yeah, man, we need to find something in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Which is, we need to grow, but we also need to embrace and accept who we are.
Yeah. And staying still, emotionally, mentally and physically is something that we need to practice for sure, to like bring that balance, don't we?
Yeah, we do. If you think about how much you're on the go all of the time, and then compare that to how much you're not on the go, you're probably on the go 90% of your waking hours.
Yeah.
So let's nudge that more towards, I don't know, 70-30 at least.
Yeah. The other thing that occurred to me when you were talking about, like, we're kind of expected, like society, we're expected to be, women especially are expected to be this kind of on the go. I do this thing, and I think a lot of women I've spoken to do it as well, where I go, okay, just letting you know, I'm going to just sit, and everyone goes, oh, what's the matter? You're going to sit down? Like my family do this, woo, mum's going to sit down. And they just go, why are you telling us? It's fine. Like, and I go, I don't know. I'm just going to sit for a little while. All right. And they go, yeah, okay, totally. You've been at it all day. And then I sit and go, hey, God, I feel, I should really be doing this and this and this. And then sometimes I might get up and do something else, and my husband will go, I thought you were having a little sit down, like it just, practice it. So I sometimes will actively do it, but not enjoy it or not embrace it or not,
I
you
think if
know.
you do it as a practice,
Mm,
it's like in a room by yourself.
mm,
So I will come in here, sit on my therapy couch and just put my phone in another room and just sit there and look out of the window,
yeah.
or lay down on the bed and do it
Mm, mm,
on the sofa. It does need to be done in quiet stillness. And
mm.
I totally get it. I often say that to my husband, I'm just going to go for a lay down. I'm just going to, it's like you have to announce it.
Yeah. Do-do. Just letting you all know that, yeah, that's it. It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah, mum's
So
trying to
funny.
take her power back.
Yeah, that's it. Woo, look at you trying to, yeah, doing something for yourself, are you? It's so weird, isn't it? So weird.
It's our voice,
Yeah, exactly.
not
Exactly.
theirs.
Because I utterly project onto them that they're going to go, oh, she's so lazy. You know, there's still this to do, there's still that to do. But there's
Mm.
always going to be something to do, isn't there? Always. So if we can start to practice and bring that, you know, even in the smallest way, bring that stillness and a little bit of, you know, authentically relaxing, authentically giving ourselves a little bit of space. And even if that's on the smallest level, are we saying that that will feed into and improve our sleep? So that's,
Yeah, I mean, don't treat sleep, treat your life.
yes.
If you want to
Yeah.
change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. That's Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I work with my clients. You know,
Yeah.
it's not about treating the sleep. Yes, I do the sleep consolidation, I do the chronotypes, we talk about sleep cycles.
Mm,
You get to learn about your sleep,
mm.
but it's also what you do during the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So this takes me nicely onto something I wanted to ask you. I did all my research. I did, you know, I probably didn't find anywhere near as much because I think for you, you went deep into this, didn't you? Which is why you do what you know, one of the things that you do now. I found a lot of tips and tricks that were there to improve. And I'd love to get your opinion on some of the things that I did. Are they valid? You know, do they, you know, as a collective, you know, I think the missing link for me was thinking about what's happening in my daytime, slowing down. And then the most powerful thing, and I really want to point this out, the most powerful thing I think that I've heard from you is not stressing out when you wake up and just leaning into the fact. That was huge. I wish I would have heard that. But so some of the things that I picked up along the way are obviously you've already alluded to this, having an airy room, having some air and a cool room. So that's
Yeah,
definitely a valid thing.
yeah, definitely. Your body temperature needs to be slightly lower, on the lower side, to go to sleep, for the melatonin to kick in. So
Right.
if you're hot,
Mm.
much harder to feel tired and sleepy.
Yeah.
I always have, I mean, I live on a really noisy main road, so I leave my bedroom window open
Mm.
from like 7 until 10 when I go to bed, and then close it at 10 o'clock. I put a fan on
Mm.
because we have to at the moment. I leave all the other windows open, all the doors open to let some air through.
Yeah.
I wear a sleep mask, an eye mask, I wear earplugs, and, you know, set myself up for sleep success every
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. Love that. I love that sentence, set yourself up for sleep success. That's amazing. So that was one of the other ones I was going to say to you. We used to have, so we're very lucky. We live in a little tiny little cul-de-sac, and the cul-de-sac is off of a very quiet road. And in the distance, you know, during the day, you can hear, you know, some cars, but it's such a low hum. It's almost like white background noise. So I'm very lucky in that respect. So we can have our window open all the time. We used to have blackout blinds, and they were literally velcroed to the window frame, but I found that it didn't let enough air through. So then I insisted that get taken off, and now I wear an eye mask. So blacking out, that's definitely a valid thing as well.
Definitely, absolutely.
Yay.
If you're prone to waking up in the middle of the night, the slightest bit of daylight, you're going to think, oh shit, it's getting light now.
Yeah.
That's it, game over.
Yeah.
No, but it's not. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Come on,
Yeah.
you've got hours left.
Yeah. At certain times of the year, when the sun comes up and an optimal time for me, I don't wear my eye mask because I love that natural. And because I do naturally wake up as soon as the sun comes up, I love that. I really enjoy that. Okay, let me think of what else I've done in the past. So blue light, we've talked about blue light. So my reading glasses are not actually, these ones aren't, but the ones I just use around the house, my reading glasses have like a blue tint. And I do avoid, not all the time. There are times where I'll be bimbling on my phone before I go to bed, but I generally don't take my phone into my bedroom.
No, that's a good
Because
idea.
if I do take it in, I will bimble.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I've got a lack of control with that. So my sort of solution to that is I plug it in downstairs.
That's a good shout. Yeah, I plug my phone in my office,
Yeah.
and I definitely don't take it to bed with me. I get really annoyed with my husband because he charges it up by the bed, and occasionally the lights are up and I'm like, someone's texting you at 4 a.m. This is not good.
Yeah.
So we have to have rules and boundaries and things like that. But yeah, these have got amber tinge to them. So that's good. You want to be wearing blue light blocking glasses. You can buy blue blocks if you go onto blueblocks.com. I think they've got loads of sleep products and well-being products for you to choose from. Yeah, I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, you would turn your screens off like half an hour before bed and do your sort of mental winding down. I do that whenever my husband plays football or if he's not in, I will just turn the TV off and I'll just sit on the sofa and I'll just let myself and then when I feel ready, I'll get up and go to bed. I don't go to bed fully awake. I will never get into bed before I've had my wind down. Some people can wind down in bed and fall asleep. I'm not that person.
Right.
I have to have my wind down out of bed. I've got quite a structure.
Yeah.
I don't have my structure.
Yeah.
It really impacts my ability to feel safe.
Yes.
I suppose it could be seen as a bit obsessive compulsive, but I think it's good, really. You want that balance. You don't want to be too tightly gripped.
Yeah. If it's not problematic, I definitely have a structure. Definitely have a structure to my mornings. I definitely have some sort of structure to my evenings. I probably could do more, but I wouldn't fall apart and have a breakdown if I couldn't follow those structures. But I am definitely highly irritated if I can't. And then I'll go through there going, I didn't do my thing this morning, so I hear you with that kind of thing, definitely.
I suppose it's like just being easy with yourself. And it all comes back to this idea of accepting what is, like, okay, I didn't get to do this tonight, or I didn't get to do that in the morning. That's okay. It's what it is. It's having that light language in your head, that sort of soft. I always think of myself as I don't think of myself as an angel, but I imagine an angel.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Voice like, it's okay. That sort of delicate, caring voice.
But you do have that voice. I love listening to your podcast. I'm a little bit obsessed with people's voices, I have to say. I've got a thing. So I've got a thing. This is a side tangent. Remind me to come back to amber light in a minute. But this is a side tangent. I have a thing, comorbidity of my ADHD is misophonia, which is, I don't know if you know what misophonia is. Misophonia is like an emotional reaction, an extreme emotional reaction to certain sounds. So like people eating, lip smacking, It's really quite severe with me as well. Like I work in my studio here, my husband works in here as well, and I spend most of my time with sound blocking headphones on because I can't cope with his, little noises, not his specifically, just this kind of thing, and keyboard tapping and things like that. But the flip side to that is I get quite, when I hear someone that's got a really lovely voice, I'm like, I love listening to that person's voice. I love accents, but you've definitely got that voice. When you were talking earlier, and your whole level comes right down into that really relaxing. So I think if I was you and heard myself talking, I'd feel quite relaxed as well. Whereas me, I'm so yeah. So amber lights. This is another thing that we did years ago, and it's now a habit. We have all of the lamps. We have lamps everywhere in our house, and they're all orange lights.
Mm-hmm.
So past a certain time, when the sun starts to dip, no one uses white lights in this house. We've even attached an orange light to our bathroom with a flick outside. So you don't use the white lights at night time. We own the whole house, and it does a little bit resemble a brothel if you walk past. It's like orange hue coming from our house, but we've done it for years. We did it when the kids were young. I guess it was really directed around having young children and bringing that, when the kids go to bed before sundown, we would darken the house and make it nice and amber. Is that a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think of the blue light spectrum, the light spectrum.
Yeah.
So blue light is on one end of the spectrum and red light is on the other end of the spectrum. So red light it negates the effects of blue light. So blue light is what is the wavelength of the light from the sun. So daylight is blue light, basically, and that's how you wake yourself up in the morning. If you want to wake yourself up and really reinforce your circadian rhythm, get up and get out first thing in the morning. Go for a walk. That will help you sleep. It's all about the rhythm. And then the red light, the amber light, will induce sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. We've got red LEDs in our bedroom. But yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
So I don't think any of this is, I think you would agree, none of it is a magic fix. It's not like have on amber lights and you'll sleep really well, put an eye patch on. It's definitely a combination of all the different things and adopting what is manageable to you, what's possible. But I think the missing link was always for me was this kind of, the emotional and mental side of things. And I was doing lots of external things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it is, how can I put this? It's not giving your power away. If you are relying on external things to help you sleep, it's almost like you're giving your power away. But sleep is one of the most natural things in the world. If you're not sleeping, there's something wrong inside, not outside. And I'm not saying don't take sleep supplements and CBD oil and don't get the whatever sleep aids. Make sure you've got a great bed, you've got great sheets, your bedroom's tidy. All that external stuff is important, but it's only, 20% of the story. I work with people with, in rapid transformational therapy sessions, and we go back and we clear all the childhood stuff that's keeping them held together. That they can relax a little bit more. And then there's all that ongoing, meditation, mindfulness, coming back to yourself that you have to do. You have to learn about sleep. You have to read about it and really just understand what's going on so that you can make the best decisions for yourself and think the right thoughts. People don't associate their thinking with sleep, but you can really fuck yourself up if you don't think the right thoughts about sleep. Like panicking about, will I sleep tonight? Don't get a handle on that. You won't sleep tonight.
And it layers and layers and layers, doesn't it? I mean, for me, it got worse and worse and worse. And the more now I look back, the more I panicked and stressed about it, the worse it got. The worse it got, the worse I felt. And then I would go into the next night going, I mean, I can't even tell you, literally like the fear was insane. So then my kind of resentment to anything external, like my husband, if he moves or makes a noise, like, God. Or if I was asleep in the morning and he happened to just turn over and put his arm around me, I'd go, oh my God, why did you wake me up? I was actually asleep. And really, God, that's not a great thing for a marriage right there. It really is,
100% been there. And I think so many people will have been there as well. It's the point where, I was so in a lot of mental pain. But you have to do the work. You have to do the work. So obviously we have to talk about wild swimming and cold water because we are both huge lovers. When did you get into cold water
therapy, wild swimming, that kind of thing? When did you get into that kind of thing?
Not the February just gone, the February before that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a couple of my friends were doing it and I was really jealous because I was like, I want to do that. Because I've been into Wim Hof for years, like even before he became a celebrity. I
Mm.
thought he was amazing and wanted to try it, but didn't really sort of know how to.
Mm.
Yeah, I just remember going into the sea in February the 27th, 2021,
Mhm.
and nobody told me what it would feel like. And nobody told me about the numbness that you feel when you go into the cold.
Yeah.
But it's certainly been amazing. It's really difficult. It's like one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life because
Yeah.
it's next level pain that you're inflicting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pleasant, but the repercussions are great. You know, you feel stronger. The mental resilience is incredible. The camaraderie
Mm.
and just being out in nature is really good for you. Yeah, I just think there's so many physical benefits as well. It's
Mm.
anti-inflammatory. You get increased brown fat as well, which boosts your metabolism. It's good for your thyroid. It's good for it exercises your nervous system as well. So you get sympathetic involvement and parasympathetic involvement.
Mm.
It exercises your heart and your vascular system. There are people say, oh, cold water therapy. Oh no, like nobody likes it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We don't like it, but we
Yeah.
like the payoff.
And the buzz is huge. And does that support good sleep? Do you think that makes a difference?
Yes and no. So you don't want to be doing it too late. So I did it once in April at 7 p.m. I was in the water for 20 minutes or so, and I came out, I got home, had a hot lasagna, had a hot shower, couldn't get warm.
Right.
10 o'clock, laying in bed, still cold on the inside, like even though my skin was warm, my core temperature had dropped.
Yeah.
So for me, I can't do it, later than 5 p.m. And if I'm doing it at 5 p.m., I'm not going to stay in any longer than 7 minutes.
It's that after drop, isn't it? That happens.
The after drop, yeah. Where your core temperature carries on cooling down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does help your sleep in that if you do it sort of at the right time of day, it will sort of exhaust you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it enables that parasympathetic, that rest to kick in. It calms the thoughts down.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it increases your sleep drive, just like exercise increases your sleep drive. That's what you want to do. I mean, it's the mistake that many people make with insomnia is that they think I can't do anything during the day because I'm too tired.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But you have to do something to utterly exhaust you so that your body will then take over.
Yeah.
You need your sleep drive to take over all your body processes, including your rational thinking mind. So anything that helps, like weightlifting, it doesn't have to be crazy exercise, but you do have to do something.
Yeah.
Cold water can be one of those things because it does put you into that heavy parasympathetic state afterwards.
Yeah.
Like a good time to go is on a Sunday just before Sunday lunch.
Yeah.
Have your Sunday lunch. Then after your Sunday lunch, you'll be really relaxed. Watch a film.
Yeah.
And go to bed.
Love that. Yeah, love that. So for me, my introduction to the cold water was through number one, wanting to have something for myself, a hobby for myself, because my whole family had hobbies. They're growing up now, they're teenagers. And I was thinking, I don't do anything for myself outside of work and my family, sort of connections and responsibilities. I don't do anything for myself. So I wanted to find something. Long story short, found cold water swimming. And a friend of mine and myself got a coach for a couple of sessions and they did teach us. So I was lucky. I was taught this is how it's going to feel. And we started in October, which I feel was a really good time to start because it wasn't quite I think we were like 15 degrees, and under 15 degrees is when it's considered cold water, isn't it? So we then went through the winter, went very regularly. And I think the coldest I swam in was like 2 degrees in Scotland.
Wow.
That was insane. I mean, we're talking about that pain that you feel, but the buzz afterwards, 2 minutes, that was it. And it was amazing. But what that did for me was had a huge impact on my anxiety levels, huge impact, which I think then has a knock-on effect on my sleep.
Yeah.
Because if I'm less anxious, you know, I used to literally wake up and instantly go, oh, you know, that feeling of like that dread feeling, you know, I haven't had that for such a long time since doing this. I almost feel like now it's too warm now. It's not, you know,
Yeah, me too, yeah,
where's the cold? Yeah, it's too warm and it's weedy, but yeah. Okay, cool. So while swimming, if you get it right, it can, let's say, it adds to those ingredients, doesn't it?
I also think it's really good for temperature regulation.
Yes.
Too. So
Yeah.
I think we have to train environmental stress into our bodies. And the trouble with us, I think this is why we get too many hot flushes and night sweats, is the comfort of indoors. So if we expose ourselves, if we practice heat and we practice cold, those extreme environmental changes, we become so much more adaptable.
Yeah.
I think I'm not quite sure of the science behind it and how it works, but it changes the brain, it will change the chemical makeup so that we become more resilient.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think, you know, I think, how can I put it? With the hot flushes and the night sweats, I know for me, when I'm not stressed, I don't get hot flushes.
Stress is a big factor, isn't it? Yeah. My video this week is on hot flushes, actually, just a little short one, 10 minutes. And that's one of the things that rumination about the hot, same as with the sleep, actually. If I'm going, oh my God, what if I get hot flushes and I've got to present today or I've got to teach today? And that does have an impact, doesn't it? And then stress in your life has an impact for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So tell us, Sally, about your amazing Sleep Academy, which I wish I bloody found when I was really struggling and it hadn't have taken me years to sort my sleep out. So tell us a little bit about that, you know, a little bit about what it's all about and how people can find out more about it.
Yeah, so you can find out more by going to sallygarozzo.com/sleep. It's a 12-week online course and community. And basically, there's 5 different modules. We go through all the basics of sleep, like what is it, like sleep cycles, sleep compression. I teach you how to consolidate your sleep so that the only time you spend in bed is when you sleep. I talk to you about circadian rhythms, chronotypes. You get to discover your own chronotype and what wake time and bedtime is right for you.
Oh, great.
It goes through, all your foundational principles like grounding, meditation, breath work, all of that stuff. The chakra system as well, so that you get to balance your energy through the day. We look at diet, exercise, and we look at communication, control, collaboration, connection, all that stuff.
Amazing.
So it's really thorough. You get it for life. So even though you're with me for 3 months, you get it for life.
That's amazing. So you can always dip back into it. That's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah.
And you need to, because there's a lot there. In between the modules, we have group coaching. You have some one-to-one coaching with me as well. You get all the downloads, you know, so it's really good. It's the price is $497 at the moment. And we do it twice a year. So September and March, we do it.
So it's coming up in September then?
Yes.
Oh, great. That's amazing. That's really good. That's handy. I'll make sure we definitely get this out before then so that people can find out more about it. It sounds amazing. And I think for so many women at this time of life, it's an issue. And, you know, what I've heard a lot today is about the relaxation side of it. But also one of the most important things that I've heard today from you is that we need to learn about sleep. So we think that it's a very natural thing. It's a bit like running. I used to coach running many, many years ago. And we think that everyone should run. We're human beings, you know, we're mechanically, but we do need to learn about everything around it. And it's the same with sleeping. Yeah. And just hearing some of the stuff that you've said today, I've sort of, pennies have dropped and I've gone, oh, so that's what's happening in my brain. That's what's happening in my body. And, you know, when you understand that, definitely kind of makes it easier to then, and I like to say, make choices about what you want to address.
They're empowered choices, aren't they? When you go, oh, right, I know I need to do this because this is going to happen if I don't do this.
Yeah. And then now, if there are days where I don't do that, I'm going to accept and be okay with the fact that my sleep might be slightly disrupted, and then know that it's going to get back on track again. So, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So I love to ask people that come on, just because, we've touched on this already, that, this isn't a revered time of life at the moment. We're definitely moving forward, and you and I are definitely part of making that happen and talking about menopause a lot. So I would love to hear from you, your two kind of, women that are talking about this stuff, people that I might not know, you're kind of champions, women champions that are talking about menopause, making this conversation happen. Who do you sort of like love to follow? Two people that our followers can check out.
So I really love Kate Codrington.
Yeah, I know Kate Codrington. Yeah,
I think she's amazing. She's very insightful, very passionate, fiery, but also very gentle and kind. And I remember she came on my podcast. Her episode's called The Big Fat Lie.
Okay.
Which your followers will love because it's all about weight and how it's all a big fat lie. And the other one is Susan Wilson, who is a Sounds True author, and she's written a book. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's got menopause in the title. So if you Susan Wilson and menopause and Sounds True,
I'll look that up, and I'll put all this in the description and notes anyway as well. So
she talks about the continuum of a woman's life. So how we go through, puberty, our fertile years, our menopause, and then our post-menopause. And she has a very spiritual view on menopause, but she has also been a nurse as well. So she has a medical background too.
I love that. That's quite unusual, isn't it, to come from both sides of the sort of coin? Because you do often find that people are either in the wellness camp or they're in the medical camp. And actually, I don't know about you, but I sometimes find that they're a bit, there's a divide, isn't there? We're in the wellness camp or medical, and then we're in this, so but interesting.
Yeah, it's nice to blend the both. I think it's important to blend the both, and both those people do have a wider awareness.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that. And then finally, I am asking all my guests. So, my sort of business name is My Body Fits, and that comes from a personal thing of me not feeling like my body fitted for years, and also in the fitness industry, and really empowering myself to say my body does fit here, and I want to kind of instill that into all of my clients and people that follow me and that sort of thing. So can you tell us about a time where maybe it was like the first time, or maybe it was just a time in your life where outside of societal norms, you really felt empowered and felt like your body fits?
Yeah, definitely. So I've recently started dancing, and I remember dancing to I think it was Todrick Hall. He's a drag queen. He's been on RuPaul's Drag Race. Actually, no, he hasn't. He's a music producer and also a drag artist. And all of what I love about drag is it's all about empowerment and being who you are. And, they celebrate the big, fat, juicy ass.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, oh, she's got fat ass,
Yeah.
And I love that. So when I get in front of the mirror, I've got my heels on and I'm wobbling all over the place.
Yeah.
But I'm really bringing the moves out. I'm really feeling myself and loving everything that's kind of jiggling and moving.
Yeah.
I just feel so empowered.
I love that. I got goosebumps when you were saying that. That's beautiful. And reclaiming that word in such a passionate, beautiful way, my fat ass.
Yeah.
Bloody love that. Because some people are so frightened of that word, right? But when you say it in that context and you reclaim that word and you use it in such a passionate way, amazing. One of mine, sorry, go on.
I think the Black cultures have really got that down. They celebrate the woman, and that the bigger the better,
For sure, yeah. I was just going to say, one of my biggest moments was when I was in Spain, and there was a young girl. I might have said this on my last guest interview, but it's such a powerful thing. There was a young girl, very beautiful, makeup, you know, really kind of fashionable stuff over her bikini. I don't know what you call it, kind of like
Mesh.
beachside thing. Yeah. But she was so like around the pool, like this, so worried about something coming out of place. And then there were these 3 Spanish women. And oh my God, these, and just like you were talking about, they were, you know, wibbly wobbling all over the place, bikinis. And there was no, you know, like this thing, like their arms weren't touching their body. Their arms were out here. Their mouths were open and expressive, and they were dancing. And I looked at them going, I want to be like you, not like that. You know, I want that. And that for me was a pivotal point in me accepting my body more and moving towards that kind of thing. And that was back in 2019, just before lockdown. And I've just been back to the same resort. And it was amazing that there were way more Spanish people at the resort than there were in 2019. And I laid back in my bikini, very relaxed, going, yeah, you guys are so beautiful. So beautiful. There were women doing, like, they had a speaker and there was a group of men and a group of women, and the men were all clapping along and the girls were all doing this kind of flamenco style dancing. And I was laying watching going, you guys are so amazing. You're so amazing. And on that, 3 years later, I'm strutting around in my bikini, not going, I'll just put this on. I was like, yeah, I'm with you now, girls, you know.
Yeah,
so
I'm owning it. That's
amazing.
it.
So beautiful, isn't it?
You've probably seen it on social media where they say, you know, they used to say, be beach body ready.
Yes.
And now they're going, the way to be beach body ready is to have a body and go on the beach.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I love this turnaround. I love this movement that's happening in the fitness industry. It's really, really positive. So
yeah, sure.
Sally, thank you so much. This has been so amazing. I've learned so much from this. And I've got some things that I'm going to take away. And I know that people that watch this are going to, you know, have some amazing stuff to take away just by watching this. And, you know, if people are interested in your sleep academy or finding out more about what you do right across the board, because there's so much, I'll put it all in the description. But thank you so much for being such a wonderful person and coming on and being my second guest.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so easy to talk to.
Yay, thank you very much. Wow, that was so amazing. I really hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, and you've taken some great tips away with you. You'll find all the information you need to find out more about Sally and her Sleep Academy in the description, along with the details of her Meno Champions. That's all from me. I will see you the same time next week.